Now, you guys have heard me criticize Don Lemon for a while now. And I was one of the first out here on YouTube criticizing way before he started talking about Trayvon Martin and Ferguson and Mike Brown and whatnot. He was one of the people out there when the Chris Brown incident happened that pounced on Chris Brown. He was one of the people out there that pounced on Reverend Wright, because people need to remember he did work in Chicago media. He was there when Tamron Hall was at Fox, when Robin Meade and Ginger Z and Paula Ferris and all of them, they all worked in the Chicago media market. Lester Holt, all of them. And Roland Martin them. So now when I see them on TV, when I look at Paula Ferris, I give her side eye. When I see Roland Martin, I give him side eye. When I see Don Lemon and Elizabeth Vargas and the rest of them, it's a lot of them worked in Chicago media. But Don Lemon always been suspect to me. When he was working at NBC5, he would read certain stories, and I said, this dude either gay or he's trying to put on an air to impress white folk. Come to find out that I was right, he's gay, because it's just something you could tell. You could tell how certain things black men don't do, and there's certain things handkerchief head minded black men to do. But a gay black man, he gives off a fucking vibe. Now, Don Lemon obviously don't look the stereotype, because most gay black men, they go get the little pencil thin mustache and they put all that makeup on their face and shit. You know the type. Suspect. Now that being said, I try to be open minded. I try to treat gay men and women with respect. And for the most part I do. But when they start talking shit sideways about the black community, or try to go out there and make the black community be more homophobic or something, you got to call that shit out. And I'm not saying every gay person do that, because I have had conversations with gay men and women who said, yo, I'm black first, gay last. Your sexual preference shouldn't have to overmine the way you experience life as a black person or as a human being in general, excuse me. But Don Lemon is a rat. When he got to CNN, they put him on the weekend. And Don Lemon was trying to carve out a way to try to get black viewers. He didn't want to go get the quote unquote brothers and sisters that actually talk about black issues. He'd go get Tim Wise. Now that always struck me as odd, because at one time I used to like Tim Wise till Tim Wise got caught saying some shit sideways. If you notice, black folk don't say shit about Tim Wise anymore because we caught on to his true behavior. But the thing is, Don Lemon didn't go talk to some of the brothers that need to be talked to, or sisters. Excuse me, he wanted to play it safe with his white audience. But now that we know that he's gay and he messed with white men, it makes sense now. Now, the first time I peeped Don Lemon really being a handkerchief and coon, this brother's running for, I think, Congress or Senate. And y'all got to help me on it. This is what, 2009, around that time. Maybe, no, let me take that back. Excuse me, 2009, yeah. And this brother obviously didn't have the knowledge to run. I think he was a ringer or something, or somebody was playing a joke. But Don got personal. And let me tell you something. There are a lot of other stories Don could have got personal, but he got personal with this guy. And it struck me as odd. I'm like, he's too comfortable talking about black folk negative in front of the cameras. Now, it's bad enough he was on CNN talking shit about Reverend Wright. Because remember, I told y'all, he was in the Chicago media market. And most black reporters knew who Reverend Wright was. Some even attended his church. Now, when Don was right along with Roland and Soledad talking shit about Reverend Wright. Now, Soledad is now from Chicago. But Soledad had bounced from NBC to CNN back, and they kept promising shit. Roland was working at WVON because he was giving coverage, or because people took notice to his reporting because he was here in Chicago. CNN figured they needed a black face, and when Tavis and Tom joined the park company, and Tom got Roland, CNN said, let's go get Roland. That's when he got elevated. He stopped talking shit about Reverend Mike. But Don it was more on a personal level, and it was like, yeah, he's Reverend Wright, he there's something wrong with him. He's an old man, blah blah blah. And I'm like, wow. And I'm like, I never heard Don Lemon talk about white evangelists or white politicians the way he talk about black folk. But because he had 10 wives on, they threw a lot of brothers and sisters off. And at that time, I wasn't doing commentaries, but I was telling people, like, yo, Don Lemon's a rat. I said he was a rat here, and he's a rat more on CNN. And he shows it more. And people like, oh, Harvey, reading too much into it. I was like, y'all need to be paying attention to these Negroes, man. They get on TV, and they talk inside their neck. And the more Obama won, or I mean, he was already president. The more time went on, he would get personal about certain blacks. Like when the Taylor Swift thing happened, he lit into Kanye West like you wouldn't believe. I'm like, wow, y'all making like dude lit up and punched or raped and shit. This shit happened months ago. And then when they talk about Michael Jackson, he was talking about Michael Jackson past. I'm like, Michael was acquitted. And even the people that thought that he did the first one even started to say they think he was set up for the first one. And it's evidence that and Dunn could have very well did an investigation. But I guess Dunn like, nah, I'm not gonna rock the boat. I'm got to cable news. I'm at CNN. I'm keeping this job. Then what happened was Roland Martin was bouncing back and forth for Anderson Cooper, and everybody was like, oh. They think Roland, because the rumor had Anderson Cooper might leave or go to a different slot. They might give Roland a slot, because before they brought in Aaron Burnett, Roland was supposed to be getting that position. And then you had what's his name, the one that took Larry King place, the British dude, the racist motherfucker, Piers Morgan. So around 2012, I remember the Super Bowl. Piers Morgan and Roland was tweeting about that underwear ad that Beckham had did. Scary Spice. What's the name? Sporty Spice, Scary Spice. What the fuck name is? Posh Spice. Yeah, Posh Spice. And somehow the gay community went out and attacked Roland and said he was being homophobic. Now this is the one time Roland didn't say shit, and I like they trying to get rid of Roland. They want him out of that contract. They figure they don't need Roland anymore because I guess Roland thought he was gonna get that spot, and maybe Roland was asking questions over at CNN, or maybe they said we want somebody that's gonna stay on point. He's not gonna be trouble for us or whatnot. They got Roland out of there. They said that's when Dunn moved. They moved from the weekend to the weekday. And then Don Willie went off on Black America. When in that same year, that's when Trayvon Martin was murdered. And Don was like, doing news stories here and there. And around that time, I think Rick Sanchez was still at CNN. He was still at CNN until he said something that called out Jerry Seinfeld and the members of the Jewish community, and they got rid of him, sent him away. And that's when they brought Brooke Baldwin in. And Don Lemon talking about me and Brooke are best friends and yada yada yada, or Anderson Cooper. And I'm like, damn, dude's landing on thick. Then when as time progressed, he started throwing shade at Trayvon Martin, his family, the black community. There's a certain way the black kids dress to keep them buttered up. And I'm like, this is a black man. Everybody wears a hoodie. Everybody, male, female, young, old, wear hoodies. My mother used to wear them. My sister wears them. I wear them. To this day, I still wear them. But I understand if you want to have a nuanced conversation, but having on CNN in a 5-minute or 2-minute segment ain't what it is. Then he did these specials about the word nigger, trying to be provocative and shit. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, I know what this motherfucker is doing. But I said but it's too obvious, and then people started to see it for themselves. And like, hey, Harvey, you're right. You're right about that. I said, I told you. Then he started agreeing with Bill O'Reilly. When people really started agreeing with him, he said, I done fucked up. I went too far. Let me go get Bill Cosby and throw Bill Cosby out there. He took what Bill Cosby was saying out of context. When Bill Cosby was talking about dressing, I didn't agree with Bill Cosby because I said he's being used. If anybody remember my original video, and I probably got it somewhere, filed away somewhere, I said Bill Cosby is being manipulated. He's being used by Don Lemon, provide Don Lemon cover. I said Bill Cosby the next one they take down. And Don Lemon, like Bill Cosby said, and then a short time later, he threw Bill Cosby under the bus. But there's a lot of other shit that Don Lemon said, but the fact remains, Don Lemon is an opportunist. And then when people criticize him, he like, well, they criticize because I'm gay. No, we criticize because you're Uncle Tom. I mean, not Uncle Tom, your handkerchief head, excuse me. You're a coon. You hide behind your sexuality and they think that's supposed to give you an out. But you know what? Gay black men like Don Lemon are dangerous to the community. I've worked with them. And I know there are people in the gay community who called out gay guys like Don Lemon. Don Lemon he sleeps with a white man, and that right there is show you compromise right there. I've yet to see Don Lemon criticize white folk or gay white folk the way he criticized black folk, especially black men. Don Lemon was one of the people that's out there constantly talking shit about Chris Brown, but he loves talking shit about Kanye. And I told y'all, and a lot of y'all get mad at me. I said, but y'all ain't listening and paying attention to who's doing what. If it ain't black women out in press talking about Kanye, it's gay black men. Don Lemon feels that in order for him to stay relevant and stay at CNN, he had to attack black folk. And Don Lemon, he talks about us in mixed company. Now the thing is, if you used to call Don Lemon out and call out all the shit he said and done over the years, then he'd be like, well, I made a mistake, blah blah blah. I apologize. No. He ain't nothing but the gay version of Stephen A. Smith. That's all. ESPN loves Stephen A. Smith because he talks shit about black folk. And Don Lemon does the same. But Don Lemon does it in mixed company and nobody calls it out. He goes with The View doing it. He goes with Wendy Williams doing it. And I'm sick of it. Now, I played part of the audio over at the Black Junction. You're going to go to Black Junction where you hear part of the audio. Now, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to play some of it here and maybe the whole thing because some people have problems going to Black Junction for whatever reason. But over at Black Junction, I tear into this motherfucker real good. But I'm gonna play the audio here for you guys. So back now with Van, Alice, and Max. Okay, Van. Kanye West is expected to meet with President Trump. I can't believe I'm talking about this. His son-in-law Jared Kushner on Thursday at the White House. That's according to the source. Kanye wants to discuss the availability of job opportunities for former convicts. I think it's yeah. Go on. I think it. Well, first of all, I think it's a good thing. I think anybody who wants to sit down and talk with President Trump, obviously, Kanye, he's from Chicago. He has a background in urban America. Anybody who wants to sit down and talk to President Trump about serious issues, I think should have a shot. And I don't think we should assume that he's not going to be able to communicate. I know for a fact that he's consulting broadly. He's talking to conservatives like Candace Owens. He's talking to liberals. He's taking it seriously as best I can tell. And I hope that something good comes out of it. If it turns out to be a train crash or a disaster, I think people will have something to say about it. On the front end, I think we should hope. On the front end, I think we should hope for the best. I'm with you. This is how we say it. He don't know what he's talking about. That's the problem. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He should be able to sit down and fine. If you want to sit down with the President of the United States, that's great. But know what you're talking about. Do your homework. Do some research. I understand. Candace Owens. Okay, fine. Listen, I don't really know that much about Candace Owens except that she's a flamethrower. But shouldn't you be talking to people like Max? You should be talking to people like Tom Nichols. You should be talking to people like Alex. You should be talking to people like Adam Navarro. You should be talking to people who actually have some knowledge of conservatism in the Republican Party. Listen. He's talking to some knowledgeable. I do not Candace's name because she's well known. He's talking to knowledgeable people on both sides. But let me just say this: this is going to surprise a lot of people. But when President Obama was there were a lot of celebrities who went to it. It was almost like Hollywood East Coast, the White House, and nobody complained, and it was considered normal. We have a very different relationship. People never said that the 13th Amendment should be abolished. Do you understand what I'm saying? Don't do that. He was talking about the prison part. Van, don't do that. Come on, man. Sit here, be honest.
what you're talking about. He doesn't know. He is a very powerful person with a high profile who is spouting off things that don't make sense. He has a lot of followers who start to believe it, and it's not true, and it doesn't make sense. If you're going to sit down with the President of the United States, whether you're a Hollywood liberal or a Hollywood conservative or a Midwest conservative, whatever it is, you should know what you're talking about, especially when you have a platform as powerful as a Kanye West. He doesn't know what he's talking about, man.
Listen, I think you and I agree that all of the people with big platforms should use it responsibly. Okay. And we also agree that the things that Kanye has said have been wrong, have been offensive, they haven't made a lot of sense. However, I think on that 13th Amendment thing, he was trying to make a point about prisoners. And I know he's getting better schooled, he's getting better advice, and that's a positive thing. You know, I'm always going to try to encourage a positive diet.
Could you tell him to do some how to talk about Ish 101 before he actually goes out and talks about Ish? Like, not only for the country and for the people who believe in him, but also for himself. Like, sit down, open up and read about it, and then go and do your thing. I'm not saying you shouldn't do it. No one's trying to, like, stop him from talking, but I'm just saying, go sit down, read, get good counsel, then come back full fire. That's all I'm saying. Go ahead, Alex.
I think this is more of a conversation between two people that clearly share some common ground on certain things. And Jared Kushner, and Van knows this very well. Jared has done a lot of work with regard to the justice system and how it impacts minorities in this country. So I think a conversation on that issue, as well as seeking employment opportunities
Alice,
for those who have been.
Kanye ain't the one. That's all I'm saying. It's not. It's all good. Van, you fight for it. Guess what, Van? You go sit down at the White House, you talk to them. I'm going to say, amen, Van, go. You know why? Because you know what the hell you're talking about. Because you studied the issue. Because people will actually listen to you. Because people are not using you, right, to garner attention. They're not using you as a campaign ad. They're not going to try to exploit you for that. And if they do, you know how to dodge and weave and handle it. You can come back here on CNN or any other platform and you can defend yourself. Kanye cannot do that. That's all. And listen, I had no hate for Kanye. That's not it. I'm just telling you the truth. You guys are sitting here defending someone who probably has issues that he needs to deal with more than talking about things in politics that he knows nothing about. And it's obvious he knows nothing.
I think Alan makes a good point. And my concern would be, if that, Donald Trump is somebody who's made a lot of racist statements, and including insulting Don and among other African Americans. He has taken actions that really target minority communities. And so I don't want him to get an easy pass by saying, hey, I've got a black friend here, Kanye West, so I can't be a racist. We know the reality is a lot more complex than that.
And quickly, let me ask you this. What do you think of stop and frisk?
What do I think of stop and frisk?
Yeah.
I think it's a violation of the Constitution.
Well, the president tonight, you know what he said? That stop and frisk was a good policy. Maybe Chicago should put that in. Kanye's going there. He is going to talk to a man who thinks that stop and frisk is a good idea. That's all I'm saying. So if you're going to go there and be a Van Jones and be able to say the words that you just said, I don't think Kanye is capable of that. I'm sorry.
Well, all I'll say is let's give him a chance. I know he's trying to get educated, and let's see what he does before we say it's bad.
He's already done it.
Yes,
how many chances? It's the same thing that you used to say about Donald Trump. You would say, how many chances are we going to give this man? How many chances are we going to give Kanye? We know where Kanye is. We already know.
I am willing to wait until Thursday before I say it's good or bad.
All right, we do better person than I am.
And you should go and come back and tell us about it on Thursday.
Now you heard. Now Van Jones was trying to get Kanye West the benefit of the doubt, and Van Jones didn't feel comfortable having a segment where you just talked about Kanye West talking about and Don Lemon threw the whole mental thing out there. Let me say this again: people who were blessed not to have mental issues now need to remember you still got a lot of life to live, Doug. You never know if Alzheimer's might set in or a psychotic break might set in. You never know that you might catch a disease. They may do some with your mental faculties. This is don't get cocky. But the fact is, he kept saying, Kanye West is a very powerful person. He said the same thing about Bill Cosby, and they used that. He's a very powerful person. Kanye's not a powerful person. If Kanye's a powerful person, people in debt talk about Kanye the way they talk about him. And so what? If he's going to be Donald Trump, you have a lot of Negroes went to the White House and sat in front of Obama and didn't say shit to President Obama. And Don saying you're going to be used. The White House said you're going to use Kanye. Well, didn't President Obama use certain black folk to keep us quiet and calm? See, let me tell you something about Don Lemon. Don Lemon, and this is what gets me. When Donald Trump was talking about birtherism and shit, Don Lemon never called him out, never called him a racist. Racist never called him out when he was a civilian. He never did any expose on Donald Trump. He never did anything. I talked about Donald Trump and point gave y'all a better history, and then these cats have given. But all of a sudden become president, or he's running for president. He's Don Lemon. Hey Donald, I'm Mr. Trump. And when Donald used him and those at MSNBC, they've been like a scorned lover. Every night, Don talks about Donald Trump. Every night. To sit here on a cable news network and talk about Kanye, he don't know ish. He don't know what he's talking about. He should go talk to Ana Navarro. Don't get it twisted. Professor Black Truth did a video on Ana, and I've talked about Ana. Ana was feeling the pinch because before that, Ana was Miss Republican. She was everything the Republicans said, she was down. And when Donald Trump showed his disdain for Hispanics, also Ana Navarro got issues with Trump. So for Don to sit out there and say, he need to go talk to Ana, no, he don't. Kanye is a grown man. And the thing is, while Kanye is out there talking about giving Donald Trump the benefit of the doubt, I keep telling y'all, President Obama insulted Kanye more than one time, insulted the man's wife twice. And y'all tend to forget that. All you gotta just go look it up. I'm not making this shit up, folks. Don Lemon has issues with black folk going out and speak. Because when he said something about you don't know what Kanye don't know. And Van was saying he's talking about the jails, the prison system, the slavery, and the 13th. And Don wanted to dismiss that. And Van Jones, even though Van Jones was smirking a little bit, I saw when Don was talking about, he sort of like, I'm not going to do that. And I had to get, usually I've been critical of Van, but I had to give him credit. He didn't join in. He didn't do that. Don Lemon has a habit of doing this. And this is why a lot of black folks get apathetic to the news and to certain black voices. Let me tell y'all something. We got power right now. You got a cable provider. You got if you got DirecTV or Dish or Comcast, wherever your provider is, you can call them and say, look, you guys deal with CNN. Can y'all give some message to CNN or call a hotline? Flood the hotlines. Don Lemon got to go or something. He needs to issue an apology. Don Lemon ain't nothing but the gay version of Stephen A. Smith. And I'm just being honest with you. Don likes being critical of black men. And Don does it in the way he does it, and he makes sure he gets covered. He want another black person on the panel with him. Remember, this brother helped destroy Bill Cosby. We can talk about handlebars all day, but Don Lemon gave them an even wider opportunity. We can criticize Michael Eric Dyson, but Don Lemon the one that gave him a platform. And Don Lemon was talking shit about Trayvon Martin. Don Lemon was talking shit about Mike Brown and Ferguson. Remember when Twali Khalid and them was down, they was down and they called him out and shit. A lot of us have called out Don Lemon for his sneaky ass behavior. This is why a lot of black people have issue with gay black people like Don Lemon. Is this some rule that some thing that gay black men or some gay black men? Because there's some brothers that don't get down like that. That brother used to be on Rolling, Cleo Monado. He would always talk black first. He even called out Don Lemon, and Rolling even called out Don Lemon a few times. Cause Don Lemon, he says stuff and he try to be slick. And see, the thing is, CNN, that's why they got rid of all the other blacks. So they kept Don Lemon for a reason. They know Don is going to criticize Black America and then hide behind his sexuality. Don goes on The View. He talks crap about black people. He goes on Wendy Williams and talk about black people, especially black men. See, this is why a lot of brothers, we don't want gay men around us. Because you're treacherous. Y'all sit back here, you badmouth us to our women. Y'all gossip. Y'all fill your heads with all this unnecessary BS. Now, I'm not saying all, but enough do. Don, the moment he got at CNN, he been getting worse and worse. But to sit here and talk about Kanye West the way it is, and some people get mad at me, oh, why you keep defending Kanye? It's not about me defending. It's about me talking about it's a time and place to be critical. I'm not going to sit on a panel with a white man or white woman, and then you got a brother on there, and he's trying to, hey, I'm going to give Kanye the benefit of the doubt. And the white guy talking about when he's going to be used. We don't say nothing about when blacks being used by the Democratic Party. This is why a lot of black people don't want to stick their neck out for our people. Because cats like Don Lemon. Now, you guys can see the unrated version of my commentary, Don Lemon, over at Black Junction. But like I said, we gotta stop letting people like Don Lemon go. This is why me and many other black YouTubers do our commentaries. Are we perfect? No. Do you agree with everything we say? No, but I'm not out to destroy my people. I would never sit in mixed company and bad mouth. Let me tell you, like I said, if y'all don't like Kanye, don't watch or listen to the shit he says. But Don Lemon has a history of doing this shit. And my thing is, y'all mean like Kanye is a fucking politician. There are politicians who are black that have said things that make you like, huh? President Obama he ignored the black community. And y'all talking about Donald Trump. Look, I'm sorry. I can't get built up with Donald Trump. I mean, don't get me wrong. Donald Trump is offensive. But he was offensive before he became president. And my thing is, President Obama ignored the black community, just like Donald Trump is ignoring the black community. So I'm trying to see where I should get angry at. But for Don to sit there and talk about Kanye like the way he did, but I guarantee you, if Kanye was sitting there, he'd be, hey, can I get you? I gotta take a picture and all that stuff. See, he's cocky. See, Don's gonna walk out of that Atlanta studio where he's in Atlanta, and somebody's gonna crack his fucking skull open. Because when he was in Ferguson, a lot of people wanted to do that shit down there. Black people like Don Lemon, or I should say black gay men like Don Lemon, are dangerous to the community. I'm sorry. He's going to say, that's nothing personal. It was personal. His tone was personal. Then he made mockery of his mental illness. So that's shit. You don't play with shit like that. I'm trying to get y'all to think outside the box, be more analytical, and stop being so willing to cut each other's throat. See, this is why our community is divided. We let motherfuckers like Don Lemon be the voice of our community, and they get out in front of mixed company and they espouse their talking points. This is why Mr. Farrakhan went in on them years ago. A lot of these black journalists got a lot to be desired. I mean, Don Lemon, every night, Donald Trump, the Trump administration, we know what they said. Y'all helped get him elected. Y'all helped Donald Trump, and now y'all trying to rewrite history. Don, you was a part of that. You out there threw Cosby in the bus, but you gave Donald Trump wide berth, and then when Trump didn't need y'all no more, he stopped making fun of CNN. You took it personal. He's making fun of CNN, and he kept doing it. Donald Trump said, "Oh, this Don Lemon." That's why he went after Don Lemon. Like the white guy gonna say he made racial comments. Duh. He been saying crazy crap since before he was got his apprentice show. But Don Lemon has never talked about Donald Trump. He talked about black men, or well known or not. Don Lemon sound like some of these white chicks that would be criticizing Kanye and Chris Brown and make it personal. like I said, folks, you can see the unrated version of this video at Black Junction, and let me know what you think. But we're going to do something about cats like Don Lemon and them, man, because they're poison to our community. And as I said before, I'm not saying all gay black men do this or all gay people do this, but we got to be honest. There's been a string of them that has said and done questionable things at our expense. And if you don't like Kanye West, ignore him. Stop buying the shit. Stop listening to anything anybody had to say about Kanye. Apparently somebody's buying Kanye shit and they like it. Kanye makes he's ratings. He's ratings for these motherfuckers. But for these people, but Don let me get personal like that. And Van knew it. And Van he didn't want to have any part of it. And some of our people know better. This is why they don't come into the black community. If you notice, for the last 10 years, they stayed out of the black community, not opinion on anything, because they know black brothers and sisters going to say, yo, man, where you been? Y'all assume we all Democrats. Y'all assume we all like Obama. Y'all assume we all got the same mindset. I keep reminding y'all, this guy helped take down Bill Cosby. Cosby's in jail because of Don Lemon and these other cats. Don't put it all on Hannibal. Don was a big part of it. Karma's going to come back on this dude one day. He ain't going to realize it. You would think his sister died or would have made him get straight, but maybe he hated his sister. Maybe he resented her. Because he showed no emotion. He showed more emotion over other shit than his own family. He gets emotional about other people and shit, but he sits back and talk about his own community. It wasn't white folks that got you to where you was at. It wasn't your community watching you or people watching you say, hey, I'm going to go watch this cat. But see, I'm telling y'all, if a lot of people knew how Don Lemon was, Don Lemon would have never got hired at CNN because he would never made it into the Chicago market. He'd still been on some local television station somewhere. I mean, this dude he talks about black people and say things about the black community. It just,